Sometimes there are jobs that only villains can get done, which is where the Legion of Doom comes in. They are a team of supervillains who often seek to destroy the Justice League, or in some cases, rival them. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. It is me, Amanda. What supervillain would you like to see join the Legion of Doom? Let us know in the comments. Number 10, Brainiac. When it comes to Brainiac, I always think of that time that he was defeated by Superman, when Superman kicked him out of his own ship onto Earth and Brainiac was defeated by the germs of Earth. Oh boy. But just because that is one of the first thoughts that comes to my mind when I think Brainiac, doesn't mean that it defines the character as a weakling. Actually, not at all, really. There is definitely something to be said for having a jacked brain, and Brainiac has also been depicted as having a jacked bod before as well. Like that time in Jeff Johns' Action Comics story arc, Brainiac, a 5-part story, where it was revealed that all of the Brainiacs Superman had fought in the past were merely androids, and that the real Brainiac was even more powerful than all of them combined, both mentally and physically. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you love what we do here at Top 10 Nerd and you've thought to yourself, man, I wish they talked about anime, man, I wish they talked about manga, guess what? We do! You can check it out at Most Amazing Top 10 Anime. Go give them a sub and let them know I sent ya. Number 9, Black Hand. Black Hand is William Hand, the Herald of Necron. In the Prime Earth continuity, he becomes a Black Lantern again, who earns his ring after taking his own life, rather than remain as an Indigo Lantern. When the opportunity presents itself, he seeks freedom, taking his own life so that he might rise again as a Black Lantern. After dying, he was resurrected, being offered his own Black Lantern ring, which emerged from his mouth. As a Black Lantern, Black Hand has the power to control dead bodies. He can temporarily revive and animate them, although these people are not really brought back to the living, but more become like thralls under his control or zombies. As a member of the undead as well, Black Hand is almost unkillable. He can regenerate from almost any damage done to him, including having his brain completely fried by Hal Jordan. In the Prime Earth continuity, William Hand was one of the members of the Legion of Doom for a short time. Number 8, Killer Frost. Number 2. Killer Frost II is Dr. Louise Lincoln in the New Earth continuity. She was the legacy villain who followed in the footsteps of her former colleague, Crystal Frost, the former Killer Frost, who was also a supervillain, like Louise would become. After Crystal died, Louise thought the best way to honor Frost was to repeat the experiment that basically turned Frost into a heat vampire. Seems like a weird way to honor your former colleague. I mean, could have just written, you know, a nice poem or something. But hey, the experiment of course resulted in Lincoln gaining the same powers, turning her into the new Killer Frost. She can in essence freeze her surroundings, eliciting cold wind gusts as well, emanating extremely cold temperatures. And she feeds on heat, which usually cannot harm her but instead fuels her cold-based powers. Number 7, Cheetah. Cheetah is someone we maybe don't think of as being super powerful in the DC universe, but we also need to keep in mind that she is a villain strong enough to take on the likes of one of the Justice League's founding members and members of the Holy Trinity there, Wonder Woman. Cheetah, like many supervillains on this list that you might underestimate, is also a genius, and was actually handpicked to be a member of Lex Luthor's Legion of Doom when he reformed the team during Rebirth. For a time, she even wielded the reforged God-Killer sword in addition to her cheetah-like and magic-based abilities and powers, although Barbara Minerva has since given up the blade, returning it to the Amazons. Number 6, Black Adam. Black Adam has to be one of the most powerful members of the Legion of Doom. He is magic-based when it comes to his powers, and packs enough of a punch to rival Shazam, and in some instances also Superman. In fact, because he is magic-based, he sometimes even gets a leg up on fights with Superman. Black Adam has been allied before with the Legion of Doom when he was a formidable and terrifying foe to come across, but he's also been a powerful ally to the Justice League before. In fact, up until recently, he was a prominent member for the Justice League, but Dark Crisis may have caused his allegiances to turn, which makes sense. Something as apocalyptic as Dark Crisis may just require, you know, a darker approach that only the Legion of Doom would be willing to take. Unfortunately, I don't think it panned out too well for them either, but you know, they tried. They're doing their best. Black Adam is ranked a little bit lower on this list, by the way, because we already kind of know, you know, he's super strong, but there are some people that don't think about him, so I still wanted to feature him here. Number 5, Golden Glider. Golden Glider is Lisa Snart, sister to Captain Cold's Leonard Snart, and longtime girlfriend of another fellow Rogues member, Mirror Master. Golden Glider is a pretty cool and underrated character, I think. She never wanted superpowers in the Prime Earth continuity version of her story, but hey, she got them anyway. This happened when the rogues attempted to merge their weapons with their DNA to basically grant them actual superpowers. The device they were using exploded, and Lisa was caught in that explosion, leaving her physical body comatose, but granting her astral projection powers, which she could use to phase and turn invisible. Number 4. Bizarro. While maybe not the most intelligent traditionally of the lot, Bizarro is still a very powerful foe who deserves his place on this list. Bizarro is basically seen as being the reverse of Superman. For example, while Superman is good and has heat vision, Bizarro is generally bad, a villain, with his own equally powerful cold vision. Depending on the origin and which Bizarro we're talking about, Bizarro is an imperfect clone of Superman created by Lex Luthor. At one point in the Prime Earth continuity, he also possesses a genius-level intellect, which made him even more dangerous, but alas, this was only temporary. Poor Bizarro. Number 3. Heat Wave. Wherever Mick Rory goes, fire generally follows. Mick Rory is Heat Wave, a pyromaniac who also happens to be a genius. A deadly combination. His origin story in the New Earth continuity involved him pretty much killing anyone who ever managed to get close to him as he was growing up by setting them aflame. See what I mean? Flames are literally following him everywhere, although Mick of course was always the person responsible for those flames. When he was just a kid, he set fire to his own family home and was so fascinated by the sight of the flames that instead of running for help, he just watched the house burn. His entire family died in the fire. As Heatwave, Mick has been a member of the Rogues, as well as the Legion of Doom, and is known for building his own heat gun. He also created a substance known as Ultra Steam that was powerful enough to even set fire to the Flash at a cellular level. Number 2. Captain Cold. Captain Cold may sound ridiculous, but he was one of the prominent members of the Legion of Doom way back in its early days. The Legion of Doom actually first appeared not in the comics, but in the animated 1976 cartoon Challenge of the Super Friends. Here, Captain Cold was one of the members featured and acted as an antithesis to the superhero The Flash. Captain Cold is Leonard Snart, and pretty much has always been Leonard Snart, since way back when, during his first appearance, which was in the comics in 1957's Showcase number 8. Captain Cold is so deadly because of his brilliant mind. He is a master engineer, and back in the New Earth continuity, he even made his own cold gun. But in the Prime Earth continuity, despite not making that tech and stealing it, he's still a genius and knows his cold gun inside and out due to taking it apart and putting it back together multiple times to ensure he fully understands every single piece of it. Leonard Snart is severely underrated as a foe, in my opinion. Number 1. Black Manta. Black Manta is definitely a character you could easily underestimate. He is often driven by one purpose: to kill Aquaman. But his drive often knows no limits, and he's not even Atlantean. He's just a guy with a sub and a fancy scuba suit. He's been a member of the Legion of the Doom before, but he was recently pulled back to the Legion after learning during Dark Crisis that Aquaman had died. This evidently defeats a good deal of Manta's purpose in terms of, why he's underwater, why he's around Atlantis, although he had just promised Jackson, his son, he'd always be there for him. Ugh. Black Manta did decide to end up leaving though to serve a greater purpose with the Legion of Doom, which was reformed to fight against those infected by the Dark Crisis. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, you stay nerdy, YouTube.